business and the economy at large. And it's really simple. If you're getting good information, then you're bound to make better financial decisions for your finance. That's personal finance, for your business, whether it's nano, micro, small, medium, whatever it is. The right information will help you make the right decisions, and your business will be better for it. And guess what? Nigeria's economy will also be better for it. And that's why we're serious about this show, the Financial Literacy and Public Enlightenment Show, brought to you by the Bankers Committee. Guess what? Today we are back with some profitable topic yet again. Yes, week after week, we deliver, as they say, our polling unit. And today on the show, we have two words for you: diaspora remittances. I repeat, diaspora remittances. Two words, but I tell you, these words mean billions of dollars. So, on the show this evening, we're diving deep into the world of diaspora remittances, particularly their impact on Nigeria's economy, on you and I. What exactly is diaspora remittance really? How do they come in? Where do they come in from? How can we use it to better our economy? These questions and more will be answered by our panelists, as always. Last week we talked a lot about boosting foreign exchange inflows into the country. So today we thought, let's just zoom into this major source of foreign exchange into the country. That's diaspora remittances. So if you're ready, we are ready. But don't forget, you can be a part of the show as always via phone, SMS, or WhatsApp. So you can call us or send us a WhatsApp call as well, or message, as the case may be, on these numbers. I'm going to be calling the numbers for you, and midway through the show, we'll be taking your calls and messages. So the number to call, WhatsApp, or messages through is 0916 257 1214. That's 0916 257 1214. But if you just want to stick to calls alone, use this number 0700, that's 0700 7000 977. 0700 7000 977. But if you're old school like me, just doing SMS alone, then the number is 0901 133 9791. I'll take that again: 0901 133 9791. Be a part of the show. Ask your questions, send in your comments, whatever it is. We are here for you. So if you're ready, let's get started. I have a three-man panel today, and they'll be doing justice to the conversation around diaspora remittances. As always, we have a chief dealer of financial markets at the Central Bank of Nigeria, Sadiq Ahmed, joining us from the nation's capital, Abuja. Also on the show this evening is Desmond Ohama, who's group head consumer banking at Fidelity Bank. And right here in our Lagos studio is Abayomi Akinyemi, treasurer at Keystone Bank. Gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the FLPE.
Thank you. Good evening.
And Desmond, it's good to see you over the virtual interface. I trust you're keeping good as well. Well, gentlemen, we have a lot to discuss.
Happy to be here.
But as always, we don't want to take it for granted that everyone knows what diaspora remittances are. So let's start with an introduction. What exactly is this term, diaspora remittance? What does it mean? Who are they? Where do they come from? And I'll begin with you, Abayomi. Then I'll go over to Desmond. What are diaspora remittances, Abayomi?
Good evening to our listeners once again. So simply put, diaspora remittances are funds or monies sent by individuals living abroad to their home country. More specifically for Nigeria, diaspora remittances for Nigeria are funds sent by Nigerians living abroad to Nigerians. And these funds are usually sent to either family members as relatives,
right,
or to friends, or for the purposes of businesses and or investment. So, as I said earlier, there are funds sent in from abroad by citizens of the country living abroad. So that's simply put.
So it's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that.
Any money sent in is under that tag, diaspora remittances.
A citizen of Nigeria living abroad.
A citizen of Nigeria. So that's very important. It has to be a Nigerian citizen living abroad. So if you're in Ghana and you're sending money to Nigeria,
exactly,
it's diaspora remittance.
It's diaspora.
If you're in Cotonou and you're sending money,
yes, As long as you are living, you are not living on the shores of Nigeria. You are living outside of Nigeria. Any funds you send in as a Nigerian are diaspora remittances.
There you go. Now, the reason we're having this conversation is the fact that this diaspora remittances is they're huge. Let me just say that they're huge, quite huge, and you get to understand better as the conversation unfolds. And we want to also help Nigerians see first the value in diaspora remittances, the impact of diaspora remittances on the economy, and how we can use it better. So I'm going to go over to Desmond now, and to maybe push this conversation further. Let's put a figure to it in terms of the remittances, the inflows that have come from diaspora remittances. Now, Nigerians living abroad from Ghana to Senegal to UK to Canada to USA. Just how much money has been coming into Nigeria, maybe on an annual basis, Desmond?
Yeah, thank you, Coyote. Thanks for having me. Is the diaspora remittances into this country is quite huge, very, very, very huge. So, according to the World Bank reports of 2023, the country received about $20.1 billion in 2023. So you can agree with me that this is quite huge, and that's why the government, the regulators, and even the operators are focused on how to harness this particular channel of receiving foreign exchange into the country. So I would say that our biggest exports are actually Nigerian migrants living abroad. So these are actually our biggest exports, because if you compare it with the FDIs, compare it with then is about 5.5% of our GDP when compared in 2023. So this is quite significant. And that is why the government, the regulators, the operators are doing everything possible to continue to enhance this particular channel, because we believe that it will boost the foreign exchange supply into the country and all that. Thank you.
So there you go. That should give you a better insight as to just how much of diaspora remittances come into Nigeria on an annual basis. That's quite a lot. I mean,
A lot.
tens of billions of dollars. If you just do the calculation right now, you'll understand just how huge that is. So that's how much money Nigerians from out there send into the country. But the conversation doesn't just end there, really. I want us to maybe get a sense of where they're coming from as well. I want to break down this conversation as easy as possible. So, Abayomi, maybe tell us the biggest sources, primary sources of diaspora remittances into the country, the ones that account for the huge chunk, the countries, maybe the continents that we have the biggest diaspora remittances from.
So, in terms of the major sources of diaspora remittances, so the major sources are from majorly 2 to 3 continents. We have, inflows from Europe, inflow from North America, and then from Asia. Those are the 3, major sources of diaspora remittances. We have a lot of Nigerians living in Europe and North America, and they tend to send money home regularly. And, the major avenue is through the formal sources, formal channels such as international money transfer operators like MoneyGram, Western Union, RIA, and the likes. Also, they send it through banks. Some of them send using Nigerian and commercial banks, getting their relatives' account, the domiciliary accounts with Nigerian banks, and also crediting those accounts directly. Also, they send through their, friends and relatives that are coming home from abroad. So, but the major sources of these funds are, Europe, North America, and Asia.
Interesting. So Europe, North America. Now, Europe is where you have the UKs of this world. So you have the other European countries, Italy, Spain, etc. Now, North America is where you have the US of A, Canada. I don't know if Mexico is also part of that.
Yes.
Well, you find Nigerians everywhere.
Yes.
Wherever you go, you always find Nigerians. And then the third continent is
Asia.
Asia. So the Chinas of this world. the Japan, them UAEs, and the rest. Those are the countries. So there you go. But it looks like Europe takes the lead on this one, followed by North America and Asia. That's where all of those monies come from. Nigerians, as I said, you find them everywhere. But I want us to push this further. Again, we're getting somewhere on the show. And just in case you're just joining us, we're talking diaspora remittances on the show this evening, the impact of diaspora remittances on Nigeria's economy and how we can better use it to improve our economy and our lots as a people. Desmond, I'll come to you now. So we know where these monies are coming from, largely, but do we know what they are used for most of the time?
Yeah, I mean, just like my colleague said, most of the funds come from these three continents he mentioned, but they are largely used for, household purposes, family upkeep, and all that. If you look at the World Bank report, it clearly shows that 70% of the inflows are used for upkeep, while only 30% is used for investment. So, quality of life of people are being improved, so boost purchasing power, access to healthcare, education, food, and even shelter, as you can see. So, it's also a good source of FS foreign exchange, boosting stability of foreign exchange. It fosters economic growth and all that. Yeah, so recently, what we are pushing is to see how we can move from just 70% upkeep to doing more around investments in that particular channel. So we want our people to send this money to help people back home, but at the same time, let this money also work for them. Let the money also help in supporting the local economy. So that's essentially what the money is used for. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Desmond, for that. There you go. 70% upkeep, 30% investment. So you see where we're going with this conversation. And that's what information does. It helps you to really see things. Once you're able to see things better, then you're able to make better decisions about it. So the challenge now, as Desmond raised, is how to move more of the funds into investment so it can be money working for us to make more money. But let me go over to Sadiq now. Sadiq, it's great to see you again. And we're having this all-important conversation around diaspora remittances. I know you've been following all the way. I don't know if you want to add a few things to some of the questions raised, the sources, what it is used for, the estimates as well, before we go now into the impact on the economy or what have you. Sadiq?
Okay, Kaide, good evening. Sorry, I had slight technical glitches, so I'm joining in late. I hope I've not missed much. Yeah, all right, great.
Not quite.
Am I audible?
Oh, yes, you are, Sadiq. Loud and
All
clear.
right,
Can hear
great.
you.
So great. Diaspora remittances. What figures we're looking at? A significant amount. Maybe Nigeria, one of the largest receivers of diaspora remittances. In Africa, I think we remain the first or the second, receiving a significant amount of flows coming from majorly the US, the UK, as rightly highlighted by Desmond. But I think what I want to just shed a little light on is, so there's the part of the diaspora remittance. There's a non-cash and there's a cash part. So together, the figure we see being published is inclusive of the non-cash part, and by non-cash we've been including gifts that are given by non-resident Nigerians, that's the Nigerians in diaspora, to families in Nigeria. So other return on investment is stationed in Nigeria, benefiting families and relatives to the Nigerians in diaspora. These are also counted as part of the remittance figure. The figure we're looking at is as at 2024, the figure we're looking at as published by both World Bank and the numbers collated by the central bank was 23 billion dollars in 2024. In the last few years, we've been around the same range of 20 billion receipts in diaspora remittances. So I'll pause here. I hope I've provided some insight. Thank you, Kaidi.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. It's good to have you, give an extra insight, Sadiq. And it's beautiful to understand that it's not just the cash. There's also the non-cash items. So those phones that you get, the laptops, or they send a car or, clothes, everything is in the net. $20+ billion for 2024. And it's even projected that they will go higher in 2025. But gentlemen, seeing all of the money, all of the dollars, the business person in me is doing a lot of crunching, and I'm thinking it's a lot of money. If you could just focus on the cash alone, I imagine that that's even a lot of money as well. So, what really is the impact of diaspora remittances on the economy? Do we have a tangible, benefit that we can say, okay, this is what diaspora remittances has been able to do to the economy in that sense? I'll begin with you, Abayomi.
Thank you, Kayode. Okay, so with regards to the impact of diaspora remittances on the economy, there are a couple of positive impacts that these funds have done to the economy. Firstly, we've mentioned it, though not directly. It's a major source of foreign exchange into the Nigerian economy. And the Nigerian being an import-dependent economy also needs a steady flow of forex.
Definitely.
And that speaks into why our exchange rate is where it is now. Because if you have limited supply of FX, the impact will be on the price you have to pay for your currency, with your currency, for you to obtain that foreign exchange.
Yeah.
So diaspora remittances is a major source of FX supply, as depicted by the volume that we are getting annually as a country.
Fantastic.
And what this does, a corollary of that, an offshoot of the number one point as a major source of foreign exchange inflow into the country, is that it also affects, accretion to the foreign reserve. So it helps Nigeria to build this foreign reserve. Because if we do not have such a source of FX into the country, we'll be forced to spend our foreign reserve as a country. So what the foreign, does is to make sure that Nigeria is so able to get accretion. Increase on add more to this because
to us out there, and you probably stay in North America, Europe, Asia, even in other countries in Africa, and you're a regular diaspora remittance person, we want to say thank you. Thank you very much for all of your work that you're doing, because you're also doing a lot of work to help our economy back home. And Desmond, you might want to speak to this as well. I'm talking, how does this impact on our inflation figures, for example? How does it impact on maybe employment? Some of these indices that we look at readily, do we have an effect that diaspora remittances maybe has on them?
Oh, yes. Just like my colleague said, it has huge positive impact on the economy. apart from the micro levels where, like I earlier highlighted, the increase in purchasing power, access to healthcare for most households, education, food, basic necessities of life, because a lot of people actually depend on their works abroad. Most people, Nigerians have strong ties to their home country. So when they leave, they want to make home better than they left it. So you see that huge impact on the microeconomy. On the macro side, of course, my colleague has actually mentioned, most of them, which is accretion to the foreign reserve and a boost in supply of FS. I mean, the foreign exchange rate is determined by supply and demand. So if you have huge supply, obviously we see the impact in pricing. So, the impact is felt on the pricing. As far as we continue to increase the number of inflows, the volume of inflows coming into the country, definitely we see the impact on pricing. It's just that for Nigeria, we are, a bit peculiar in some areas. Remittances follow migration pattern. And if you see the number of Nigerians living abroad, if you look at the official figures, according to the Ministry of External Affairs, about 20 million people, you would expect that we should be getting more. I looked at the numbers. India with about 35.4 million people, they are remitting over $100 billion, according to the World Bank report of 2023. Mexico, just 12 million people, they are remitting $61 billion. China, 60 million people remitting $51 billion. Philippines, 15 million people remitting $38 billion. Pakistan, less than 10 million people remitting $29.9 billion. Egypt, we used to do better than Egypt. I think there are a couple of things that have happened. There are strategic focus and all that, a lot of migrants, moving in an organized migration, programs and policies. And they've boosted their own influence to about $28.3 billion. Nigeria with 20 million people, in Egypt has about 14 million. We have official figures, 20 million, because a lot of our people, if you look at the unofficial figures, obviously will be more than this. And we are doing just $21 billion. I think, we need to have a huge focus on that area, even though we're getting quite a significant volume. It could be more by galvanizing, the people over there. And I see a lot of programs from the regulator, from the government directed at that particular space. The issue of non-resident BVN, the channel they are building on, the various engagements with the diaspora, working with the banks. I was in Houston late last year on a CBN event. A lot is happening in that space. And we hope that this year, just like it's been projected, that we'll be doing much more, that we'll begin to see that impact. Thank you.
I love what you just did, Desmond, and I think it's really brilliant. And I did the math further. If you divide the $23 billion that we got in 2024 by official 20 million, that's an average of $100 per diaspora Nigerian, if I'm correct. That's an average of $100 for each person. And I want to believe that Nigerians do more than that. So obviously, something doesn't look right here. And I'll just go to Sadiq. Is this a testament, or is this as a result of the unofficial channels that some people also use? So maybe we can use this medium to speak to Nigerians in the diaspora about how to go about diaspora remittances such that it's easily better captured and it impacts the economy more.
Yeah, so Kayode rightly mentioned a lot of informal channels exist. And I told you earlier that what we have include the non-cash aspect of it. So when you begin to disaggregate the numbers, you will also see the need for Nigerians to do more. If we disaggregate the cash from the non-cash, we're looking at about 50-50. Non-cash is about 40%, and then in some cases 50%. So technically, if you divide the 20 that we've received, we're looking at 10. Out of the 10, the part that is actually FX and that comes through the official sources that has gone through the registered channels properly is also another half of that 10. So we're technically looking at about 5 billion officially coming in into the economy through the license or registered money transfer operators. So Kayode, for a money remittance to take place, there are established channels duly approved to facilitate such remittances. And these channels are the international money transfer operators. The central bank licensed these operators to facilitate this transfer of flows from diaspora to Nigerians to reach their families and what have you. Among the remittance that is cash but is not captured through these sources are also those Nigerians that are also using their domiciliary account. So they are non-resident Nigerians that still maintain, probably they were living in Nigeria before, they traveled abroad, so they maintain their domiciliary accounts. So if they want to do any diaspora, any remittances to their families for upkeep, they use those channels, the domiciliary account channel, to wire those funds, and then those funds are eventually converted or withdrawn by the beneficiaries. Those are captured within the system, but they don't go through the international money transfer operators. So the data is very difficult to segregate between other flows that would have come in for other investment purposes and those that are strictly diaspora remittances. So there's that challenge around the channels used for transfer of such remittances into the country. Nigerians should know the need for data. Now, it's only when we have data that the right investments and the right policies can also be made. In a situation whereby the data is showing us only $5 million has been received through the INTOs, it makes it a little bit difficult to, to actually formulate a policy that will actually address or bolster such flows in the manner that maybe it will deem fit for the country, and then it will not be gaining the same traction. So another challenge, a review of some of the performances in the past. We've seen some distortions around the transfer process. One of such issues probably...
Sadiq, just a moment.
Yes.
Before you mention that issue, I want us to take a quick break. So if you're listening to us right here, just stay with us. Sadiq is going to come back to mention that issue because we're due for a break. Because a very important point you're about to make, Sadiq, but we have to take this commercial break right now. And when we return, Sadiq will land on this point. We'll talk about how to boost it, how to channel it the right way. It's a lot. So do not touch that dial. We'll be right back right here on the Financial Literacy and Public Enlightenment Radio Show. Stay with us.
They support local businesses. And if we don't carry dollar enter Nigeria or any other foreign currency, it could be with international money transfer agents.
Is my friend to get this. You know what you have? You have to give me. Country people, let me join and reduce the pressure of our naira. This message from Bankers Committee. Makes sense. It makes sense.
I come here, please.
Calm down. I go pay.
Please, I no fit pay o. Wetin be that?
Why everything just cost like this?
Na dollar o.
Dollar. How?
Baba, na true now. See your shoe, made in Italy. Your shirt made in Turkey. Even car where you carry come, made in Japan.
How all these ones take affect dollar?
You know say for the price of dollar to come down, get wetin we suppose dey do. We suppose dey export pass wetin we dey import. We suppose dey buy more made in Nigerian products. Make we dey support local businesses. And if we go carry dollar enter Nigeria or any other foreign currency, make we dey use international money transfer agents.
This is my friend. It get sense. You know what will happen? Give am the pay, make it pay. Country people, let we join and reduce the pressure on top our naira. This message is from Bankers Committee.
And we are back. Thank you for staying with us right here on the Financial Literacy and Public Enlightenment Radio Show, brought to you by the Bankers Committee. Today, we're talking the impact of diaspora remittances on Nigeria's economy. And so far, I've learned so much. First, how much comes in terms of cash and non-cash, as at last year, it was about $23 billion. But in actual fact, what is captured through the official means is just $5 billion. And we have at least 20 million official Nigerians living outside the country. So again, if you do the math, that's about what? $25 per Nigerian living in the diaspora. And I know, I for one know that Nigerians do more than that on a yearly basis. So clearly something is off here. And that's why we're having this conversation. So first, we know the official routes to channel our diaspora remittances for people who are living out of the country. And for those staying here receiving it, we know where to tell them to send it through. So these monies come into the economy the official way, and our economy benefits from it. It's our economy, really. It's not my economy. It's not just yours. It's ours. And that's why we're having this conversation. I still have with us on the show Sadiq Ahmed, Chief Dealer Financial Markets at the CBN, Desmond Oama, Group Head Consumer Banking at Fidelity Bank, and Abayomi Akiemi, Treasurer at Keystone Bank. Sadiq, just before we went on that break, you were making a point, but I just need to quickly say this. If you want to be a part of the show, 0916-257-1214 is the number, as well as 0700-7000-977 or 0901-133-9791. That last number is for SMS. So you can be a part of the show through those numbers. But Sadiq, let me come back to you now. You were talking about the second issue that we are dealing with now. Sadiq.
Okay, the second issue, which I was trying to say is why these flows are not coming into the official channels. Costs, we've seen cost around the transfer of such funds. So the cost of transfer is also another issue. The complexity around the transfer process is also another issue that we've noticed, at least from the feedback we've received from several various Nigerians that are participating in this diaspora space. So there's been complaint around the cost, around complexity of the transfer process, the international money transfer operators in the past have also raised concerns around the accessible rate. So the rate at which the diaspora remittances are eventually settled was also an issue at a point in time. However, a number of these issues have been resolved. Case in point, the rate at which the diaspora remittance is settled has already been unified to that market rate. So there's no additional advantage or any need for diaspora Nigerians to avoid sending the money from the banking through the banking channels just with the hope of taking a better price. So that has been a challenge in the past. Right. We are gradually recovering from these challenges, and we're seeing that pick up in the confidence. But a lot needs to be done because I think there's a huge gap on the knowledge part, on the understanding that all those things are no longer there. So we've seen the same pattern reoccurring even where there's actually no need for such to happen.
All right. There you go. You don't have a reason to bypass the official channels. And Sadiq is confirming now that the official channels are actually now easy to use. The costs are not as much. There you have it. If you're listening and you have people abroad, tell them that. Use the official channels. If you're abroad, use the official channels next time. And I'm glad to tell you that right now we have joining us Mr. Chukwuemeka from Polaris Bank. He's right here with us virtually just to push this conversation further. Welcome to the Financial Literacy and Public Enlightenment Radio Show, Mr. Chukwuemeka.
Thank you, Kayode. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're welcome. We're talking about the all-important conversation around diaspora remittances, and we've covered quite some length, but I want you to speak to how we can boost diaspora remittances, because as I did earlier, I did the math earlier on. If we're saying we have 5 billion officially, that's an average of $25 per Nigerian in the diaspora, and clearly Nigerians do better than that. We have Nigerians who have, over the space of a few months alone, they've spent $5,000 back home. But sadly, these things do not reflect as much. So how do we begin to improve on diaspora remittances, ensure we boost them so they come into the economy and do the good that they're meant to do, Mr. Chukwuemeka?
Okay, thank you, Kayode. I think a lot has been said. I've been listening to my colleagues from other banks and departments speak to it. A lot has been said. Said mentioned something that is key to international remittances. You see, the remitter of funds will always look for the higher band to change to settle at, right? But what's happening with the CBN policy in trying to unify the exchange rate is that it kind of de-incentivizes the need for you to want to go to the other market, the parallel market or the non-official markets to do these exchanges, right? So as the exchange rate begins to merge or unify, then you will see an increasing recourse to the official channels to make remittances. Because, I could just as well just send this money through one of the IMTOs and get my beneficiary receive this fund. So that need to want to go through the unofficial channels is discouraged, right? As the exchange rate unify. So that is one of the system the government, the CBN is trying to build so that it will compel or encourage more remittances through the official channels so that it can have the desired impact that we expect. You will also find that my forecast is that we saw an increase in 2024 as against 2023, in terms of the total remittances. I think 2023 is expected to be higher when the final figures are out. 2025, I can also expect that we can expect to see a little higher sums in terms of remittances. And this is why. The reason is, okay, again, the exchange rate plays a role here. Where you have the advantage, where the dollar earner has an advantage, right? There's an increasing motive and incentive for you to want to remit money, all right? So you now have more people being able to remit more funds. So as the exchange rate becomes more market driven officially and more uniform, we'll begin to see an increasing amount of remittances coming into the economy, right? And I'll tell you something else, and I think is going to happen. The current geopolitics going on around the world, around immigration and uncertainty and insecurity around immigrants, one could expect to see an increase in remittance on the basis of that, all right? In the sense that people want to move monies to safer location, being the home countries in this instance, right? To keep their funds in a position where they can have access to it should anything happen to their immigration status. So we'll begin to see some improvement along the line of remittances. And of course, like has been clearly said in this forum, the impact on the economy, on the exchange rates is significant. We're talking billions of dollars coming into the system, and being able to increase one, it also boosts the purchasing power of the receivers, which means that we'll begin to see increasing demand, and it kind of helps to balance the economy such that some people do not suffer more than they ought to because of the support they're able to get from the diaspora relatives.
All right. Thank you very much for that. So he's given us a forecast, and I know the World Bank, some other institutions have said that 2025 might see more diaspora remittances. So fingers crossed, and that's why we're having this conversation as well. So everybody listening out there can tell those they know out there to do things officially. There's no reason to bypass the official channels anymore because, the rates are now unified. So whatever you think you can get unofficially is actually what you get officially as well. Let me go to Desmond, and I want us to channel this now further. But if you want to be a part of the show, I'm going to be taking your calls and messages now. So you can call us or WhatsApp us on 0916 257 1214. That's 0916 257 1214. If you've got questions or you need some more clarity on diaspora remittances, then use that number. Or you could just call this number 0700 7000 977. That's 0700 700 0977. And just for SMSs alone, you can use 0901 133 9791. That's 0901 133 9791. So Desmond, I was going to ask you that when this money is coming, or before they come in, because I understand 70% is for upkeep, only 30% is for investment, and I mean, people believe we can do better. So can diaspora remittances be leveraged to support specific development projects or initiatives in Nigeria? And how can the receivers go about this, Desmond?
Yes, that I believe is already happening. We have on the micro level a couple of individuals, building homes, supporting scholarship programs, development programs, and all that back here. And because Nigerians have strong ties to their home country, they enjoy a lot of communal living wherever they are. You see clusters of doctors, clusters of nurses, engineers, and all notable professions coming together, to advance the interests of their home country, either by, enlightenment programs or by, supporting in one program or the other. So diaspora can be leveraged even for knowledge and skill transfer. We do see a lot of professionals who, working with the locals here, do training for a while and then pass on the knowledge and, further move back to their location. Some leverage video technology to do, medical advice and all that. So a lot is happening in that space. I know that the notable professional association will be here in the next 2 months. And what are they doing? They're just trying to bring their expertise back home and close the ranks in terms of skill gap in that particular discipline. In terms of these inflows, I think that maybe the diaspora commissions can look for ways to push for organized migration. We see this happening between the Filipinos and the Canadians. A lot of Filipino nurses actually, move from Philippines to Canada to do their nursing program. And as far as you continue to see a high number of, people moving out of the country, what they call the Japa syndrome, of course, remittances follow migration pattern. The more people you have out there, the more you are expecting. So we shouldn't look at it as brain drain. It's actually brain gain. When these people move, you see inflows coming back to the country. When these inflows are focused to critical areas of the economy, it fosters economic growth. It supports the government's effort in bringing FS. I mean, who are your number one ambassador over there? It is the diaspora that kickstarts the development of the country. We see that in India. We see that in the Irish community. They all came together, developed their home country. So they can be leveraged in so many ways to, further support the local economy. I say this because I'm involved in a lot of it. For better part of last year, I was involved in various programs. I visited like 6 cities in the US, and we're doing quite a lot around this. And you can see that there's a lot this, great Nigerians can actually do back home. So they can be leveraged in so many ways to contribute to the local economy. Even in terms of, in key, they can also be leveraged. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Desmond, for those points. And there you have it. If you're listening, those are areas that we can channel diaspora remittances into, because we need to start thinking, business-like. Let's think of ways we can, pump these remittances into sectors that will then turn around to improve the economy. And I'm coming to you, Abayomi, now. Perhaps you want to add a thing or two to the points that Desmond raised, because I think that we should get to that point where we're now speaking about how to properly channel diaspora remittances. So it's like, business mindset. This is a target. They come in, okay, this goes into agriculture, this goes into this, and because we know that those are the sectors that need investment. So for you, what would be those sectors, and how can we better leverage diaspora remittances?
Okay. Thank you very much, Kayode, for that question. So firstly, we need to understand that as my other speakers have said, the majority of remittances from Nigerians in diaspora goes to consumption. Upkeep, consumption activities, basically. And we need more of it to go into investment, which we expect that to lead to economic growth and development. Now, the first thing that needs to be done, and which is being done already, is to boost investors' confidence. Why would you want to invest back at home when you are not sure that you get the desired return on that investment, or whether that investment is safe? So what the government is currently doing, and the Central Bank of Nigeria is also doing, is to boost investors' confidence in Nigeria. Because, of course, even though you're a Nigerian, you don't want to throw away your hard-earned money anyway. So in boosting investors' confidence, Nigerians will now start to send money home for investment purposes, not just to support their relatives and friends back home. And that brings me to a policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. in the last couple of months, the CBN introduced what we call, two accounts to support Nigerians abroad. The first one is a non-resident Nigerian ordinary account and non-resident Nigerian investment account. So these two accounts are geared towards, as their name depicts. The ordinary account is for, the regular Nigerians that send money home and wants to, give to their families, their friends, their relatives. And the other account, the investment account, is purposely, introduced for investments in Nigeria. So what the central bank is doing is saying that Nigerians, if you want to invest in Nigeria and grow our economy, you have a specific account where you can send money to. And the monies can also be taken back. It can be repatriated because, again, it's easy to send money home. It should also be easy for you to take out. And that's one of the things that boosts investors' confidence. So, and in doing that, the CBN also, set out investment that can be done. You can invest in Nigerian fixed income securities, treasury bills, and bonds. You can invest in foreign denominated assets as well as local denominated assets. So these two accounts, these two variants of account, you can open them in foreign currency. You can also open them in local currency. So what this means is that if you need to do investment in foreign currency, you can't do that. For instance, the dollar-denominated local bonds, foreign Nigerians living in diaspora can invest. In fact, according to the CBN, that bond was issued in order to target Nigerians living in diaspora. Now, so to grow the economy, like you mentioned, the investment needs to go into productive sectors such as manufacturing, technology, and agriculture. And those are the things that can lead to economic growth. Also, investments need to go into infrastructure, real estate. We've already been seeing that real estate, a lot of Nigerians in diaspora that are building homes back home are investing in real estate companies. So those are the areas which investment, the remittances need to be channeled to. And like I said, CBN is helping by creating that
some of those accounts
where our Nigerians living abroad can send that money.
Brilliant. And that's the point of information. You probably didn't know this before, but you've heard it right here. So explore some of these accounts. Just head over to your bank. These things are quite easy to achieve. And together we can improve Nigeria's economy. I strongly believe that. We have just about a minute to wind down. And I want Mr. Chukwuemeka and Sadiq to have final words on this conversation. And I want you to speak directly to that Nigerian outside listening to you. What would be your last words to them on the show today, of course? I'll begin with Mr. Chukwuemeka.
Well, I'd like to assure them that the system is being structured in such a way that they should have the confidence to continue with the remittances. And beyond the upkeep subsistence that we've seen, we also like to encourage them that they could also make remittances for investment purposes. There are quite a number of consultancies and advisors who can provide the guidance that they'll need to be able to make investments that with good yield. So I like to really encourage our Nigerian brothers and sisters abroad that the climate for good business is at hand, and encourage them to remit for investment purposes. Thank you.
Sadiq, we have about your last point.
Mine would be Nigerians in diaspora continue to have that confidence, grow the confidence even more. The country presents a unique opportunity at this time, especially for any supply of FX. You have more naira, and then more return on investment on your naira. Inflow your funds, provide some inputs to government, support in building the ideas and products that would also house those investments. So that's my call to Nigerians in diaspora. The government is doing a lot in this front, and the policies and the market is also proving very viable for such flows to come in.
All right, Sadiq. This is where we draw the curtains today, but one thing is sure, we can do better with diaspora remittances. And with these points, I bet you 2025 will be a much better year for us as a nation. I have to thank all of my panelists, Sadiq Ahmed, Chief Dealer, Financial Markets, CBN. It's good to see you again. Thank you. Desmond Ohama, Group Head, Consumer Bank, Fidelity. Thank you so much, as well as Abayomi Akiemi, Treasurer, Keystone Bank. And we had joining us eventually Mr. Chukwemeka from Polaris Bank. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Well, on behalf of the production team, the engineers, Daniel Kuye, Rilwan Adalijo, Olatunde Abdulatif, the studio engineer, Ido Eusebio, the assistant producer, Oluleye Adeboye, the producer, of course, Maria Iwoma, and the director of Lagos Operations, Bonale Woyemi. We have to thank you so much and ask you to keep making profit. I'm Kayode Kikiolu. See you next week.
Play something. Playing something.
You want to play?
Yes, now.
Yeah.
I'm playing it already. Take it.
Nothing's coming.
No audio.
Next week. We'll test that thing during test.
Well done. Done about it.
Bye.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh,
I'm just young.
no, wicked though. I think everybody there for carrying it. They come and they give us. I don't think.
We are look at now. Are you not timing up from the end?